Hi, guys. Now, Kevin did mention that I have a 6-week-old who is currently sleeping. I had scheduled this call before I had the baby, but I think we can end up canceling that week, so hopefully he cooperates. I picked team culture because this is honestly a topic that I have been really, really struggling with, and that was something that we were kind of assigned to do, is pick a topic that we don't feel as strong with. And I really wanted to start with my failures, because I've been giving this a lot of thought and kind of why I think that I've been failing with team culture. So when I became a coach almost 3 years ago, I signed up under Lindsay, under the Bombshell Dynasty. And sometimes when you do sign up underneath such a strong coach, you set unrealistic expectations and you're seeing someone who's years ahead of you and you're feeling like that's what you're supposed to emulate. And I feel like I really got caught up in that in the first couple like months. And then even when I felt my business dipping, like that's where the things that I would go back to focusing on, and not the vitals and not the things that were really, really important business drivers. So in the beginning, I thought the most important thing was coming up with a team name and a team logo and a team website and all those things, and like making shirts, and like wasted like so much time as far as like making my logo and picking the colors and picking all of those things that I thought was like so super important. And although I'm happy with all the decisions that I made, like my team is the TNT Dynasty, and it stands for tried and true. And what I've always believed is Beachbody and anything that I was going to back was going to be something tried and true, something that had been around for a long time and had been tested over and over and over and been proven to be successful. So that's why I chose Beachbody. That's why I chose like my team name and everything. And that's what I've always believed moving forward. But I also realize that as you sign up more coaches and as you get farther away from that date, if you don't keep reminding your coaches about that, and how many of them even know what it stands for and knows my beliefs, you lose sight of your original mission and also your team culture as a whole. I made a team manual back in the beginning, and I think that getting back to that a little bit as far as like what it's about to be part of the team, what the expectations are, being on the team calls and showing up every single day and supporting each other. And those are all the things that I still say, but I want to make sure that I'm really hammering them home and making sure that everyone's following along with that. And in doing some soul searching to prepare for this, it was, why did my team culture fall off, especially this past year? And I know that the biggest thing about team culture is the leader. And a lot of us fall in and out of that role, and we get scared about being leaders, especially when we're not feeling our strongest and we feel like maybe they won't notice, or maybe I won't have to do those things that are accountable. I've been doing them for so long. Maybe they just assume that I'm doing them since I've been doing them for so long. And that is just such a negative thing that can end up derailing your entire team. So making sure that you're leading from the front. And that was one of the biggest gut checks that one of my friends gave me, is it's like, are you leading, or are you leading by example? Like, are you at the top of your leaderboard for Success Club? Are you posting your before and after transformations? Are you showing accountability as far as what you're eating? Are you showing scripts as far as rejections that you're getting, or successful scripts that you're getting? And all of those things are really what shows that you're a leader and shows the interaction in your team page. And if you're not doing those things, you don't set anybody else up for success to do those things either. And I know that I haven't felt comfortable having a transformation. I mean, the last year, my transformation was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's hard to show that transformation. So I knew that I had to do it after having the baby, as hard as it is and as uncomfortable as you feel. But letting your coaches feel vulnerable, see you be vulnerable, so that they feel confident to be vulnerable too. And I know that a lot of my coaches on my team are perfectionists, and letting people, but incredibly flawed perfectionists that are like, getting through the day, but have a million things that we're covering up that we've basically gotten through, but showing people those chinks in your armor and showing people what makes you real. And that's what drew my team together, but making sure that we're connecting to our network that same way as well. So that was what I was saying, like from a team, like leadership perspective. And then as far as team culture and moving forward, I really want to set up a schedule, not just for kind of like for recognition and for different things, making sure that I'm keeping myself in check. So incentives as far as milestones that my team is reaching, like making sure that I'm doing the shout outs for everything, not just doing this Success Club board at the end of the month, but I see a lot of coaches do either volume success boards every single week, or Success Club points updates every single week. Leadership ladder now, since that's such an important focus. But I think the first year that Lindsay would do volume and top coach boards, I was on it and had no idea even what that meant. So if you're recognizing your team for being different rungs of the leadership ladder, make sure that the rest of your team understands what that means and why they should be striving for it. So if someone is a business builder, a team leader, someone can say, oh, I could never do that, but not understanding that this is what it takes to get on the leadership board. If you envision seeing your name on this board, if that's one of your goals, you have to reverse engineer it and see what I need to do in order to be on that board. And I think that that's why the leadership ladder is so important. Team calls, and this was something as far as being a leader that was so hard, because, again, when you're on a bombshell call and there's 500 people maxing out a call, and you think that that's what it's supposed to be in reality, and then you start hosting them yourself and you're struggling to get a handful of your coaches on them. One thing that I did was, no matter what, I showed up every single Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Whether one person showed up or 5 people showed up or 20 people showed up, I was there every single Wednesday. And I always recorded it, and I always posted it in my team page. I always shared it. And it was always, that gut check when you were about to post the Zoom and see if anybody was going to show up. But making sure that I was prepared every single Wednesday, it also kept me on track. Like, knowing that I was doing something to have to prepare for that team call, that I was continuing to grow and build as my business, as a leader, as personal development, as learning something every single week, that I was giving value back to my team. And they saw me showing up consistently, whether it was a hard week or whether I was struggling with something. They knew they could count on me to show up every single Wednesday, and that's been something that's been consistent. And also getting into, I started delegating and having other people host the team calls so that they feel like they have a spot to grow and to have others view them as a leader. So at the end of the call, I always say that I'm taking volunteers. If anybody wants, has a topic that they're really motivated about, they want to share with the team, please feel free to message me, and, we'll talk about hosting a call. And I know that really gave them something to work for, and took off some of the pressure in them, instead of them saying, oh, I'm diamond now, I have to start hosting my team calls. So giving them somewhere, instead of just being an apprentice coach in a challenge group, but having them have something else that they could strive for. I was listening to a call from Scotty Hobbs yesterday, and he was saying for his whole first year in his team page, it was absolute crickets. Like, he didn't have anybody responding to his stuff. He didn't know if anybody in his team was even really seeing the stuff that he was posting, but he was continuing doing it every single day. And not just like things that are posted in the Northeast page, like not just the announcements. Like, if you read something that inspired you in personal development, or if you listened to a YouTube video that you think your team might benefit from, or you read a book that you think they might like, make sure that you're posting those things too, so that they see that you're being a full-rounded coach. Because if they just see that you're just copying and pasting things that Kevin posted from different leadership groups, that's great to be passing on the information, but that's just one aspect that it takes as being a leader. So showing them that you're doing all the other things. The other thing that I've done, but not as kind of formal as Sarah was doing, like having a hooks page. Like, if you have a good post, posting it in that page and having everybody like go and support each other. If you did a transformation and you put yourself outside your comfort zone, put it in the group and say, hey, go show my, please go show my post some love. One of my coaches, her husband has lost like 40 pounds along her coaching journey. So he made a post for the first time, a totally vulnerable post. So everybody went over to her page and to his page, and were liking and showing love on that post to, show that it's not just you as an individual as a coach, but also how it ripples out, and the ripple effect ends up affecting the people around you. And I know that, that's something that hits home to me with my husband, and it hit home to a lot of other people whose husbands are on the couch while they're working out. So showing that love and letting it spread out. So recognition, shout outs for good posts, piling on the love, team calls and recording. Encourage other coaches to ask questions there. Whenever somebody sends me a private message, I tell them, this is a great question. I'm sure a lot of people on our team have the same question too. Would you mind posting it on our team page and seeing if anybody else can answer it, or Google it, do your best to find the answer. If you can't, post it in the team page and we'll try to come up with the answer together, so that it takes some burden off of you as a coach to try to answer all the questions and have all the answers, but also lets them be a little bit more of a detective and try to find the answers for themselves. Other things that I want to start doing and doing more of, team retreats. I know that they can be big scale, small scale, local, whatever you want to do, but making sure that you're finding some way to interact with a bunch of coaches. When I've been going to the Philly Super Saturdays and meeting up with my local coaches, making sure that I do know who lives within my area. We're going to have a holiday party over the next couple weeks, and whether it's just a happy hour, just a place for us all to get together, to know that they have coaches that they can meet up with. When you go to Super Saturday, you don't have to feel like you're showing up by yourself, that you at least have somebody to sit with or somebody that's familiar. So giving them not just the Beachbody community that you could feel like can get lost, or the huge team page where you can feel like nobody even knows who you are, but giving them smaller pockets where they can get to know each other. I mean, I have a big pocket up in Connecticut too. So some of my coaches are up there, and I know that they do a lot of stuff together. So it's nice to be able to give people little concentrated areas where they can hang out. One of my success partners did something that I think is amazing. She is in Texas, and most of her coaches are all in her area because she's recruited a lot of her fitness instructors and a lot of the teachers that she teaches with. So they did a weekend training retreat. And she teamed up with two of her diamonds, and they rented out like a room in a hotel, and they met there for 3 mornings, and they did training the entire time. And they did kind of like some training, some team building, and got all the coaches together. So it was a really good opportunity to kind of do the mix. And she had like 50 coaches show up from her team between her diamonds and all the other like surrounding coaches. I wouldn't get anywhere near there in my area, but even if you can just get a handful of your coaches together and do some training in person, I think is huge. I've also been listening to calls about increasing volume, and whether it's doing things in person with grabbing another coach and doing shake and shares and doing, we're not big into the parties. I think that a lot of us actually got into Beachbody because we knew we didn't have to have those parties. We didn't have to stock a bunch of stuff. But if you're better in person, not being afraid of grabbing a team member and doing something in person, going to a 5K and getting a booth with somebody else, hosting parties. People have been talking about doing gift baskets, like buying shaker cups and samples and giving the gift of health instead of just having a post and saying, like, let's give the gift of health, actually putting together baskets and things. And they're huge volume generators. And it's also something you can get together with your team and all. You buy the Shakeology, you buy all the shaker cups, you buy the baskets. We'll all get together one Friday night. We'll put them all together and we'll give them as gifts to our families. So I thought that was a really cute idea. Like anything you guys can do together in person or virtually so that you're seeing each other's faces and getting to know each other's personalities, I think is huge. Another thing that I know helps with culture is going live in your groups and making sure that your team knows who you are and what your personality is like so that they feel comfortable reaching out to you, so that they, I have coaches that say, oh my God, I'm so sorry to bother you. I know you're so busy. And those are the coaches that I really, really want to work with. So making sure that they feel comfortable reaching out to you and that you're not just the leader of this big team, but you're really accessible too. I've been trying to work not just my personally sponsored coaches, but looking at my leaderboard, seeing who my volume producers are, seeing who's getting Success Club, and reaching out to them individually instead of just a shout out and saying, hey, I saw you got 2 points on the board. That's awesome. Or, hey, I saw you signed up another coach, you only need one more to get to Emerald, or any of those little shout outs to people that aren't your personally sponsored coaches. When their upline is reaching out to them, it means so much more to them. And taking the time to doing all those little things, I know has made a really big difference, and that's what I want to get into. Another thing that I'm starting with some of my leaders is a success pod. So instead of just having, like a mastermind like this, but instead of having, just the team calls, I reached out to some of the top producers that weren't my personally sponsored coaches and kind of getting over the fence. Like, what do you need to do in this business in order to take it to the next level? What's holding you back? So every Thursday night, I'm getting together with about 5 or 6 of them, and it's going to be a lot more personal. It's going to be a lot more really diving into your why and why you want this to work and what's going to prevent you from not quitting. And, one of my coaches who coaches, her upline went 1-star diamond and then quit and is back to Emerald right now. And she's 1-star herself and she just feels totally lost. And she came up to me on Super Saturday and started crying because she's struggling so much to pay the bills. And she's going part-time at her job because she wants this to work and she really believes in this and she's going all in. And I never, ever by her posts would have in a million years known how badly she was struggling and how much she has to convince herself every day not to quit. So she's going to be in this pod. And I think having some other coaches see that she needs this to work and she believes in this so much that she's giving up her more stable income to do this, because she believes that this could really get her family out of the debt that they're in and, you know, give her the future that her and her family wants. So making sure that if there is somebody who has been working or has been posting more consistently, even if they're not your PS, making sure that you're giving them a place to go to, because she was so upset that her coach pretty much quit and she had nowhere to turn to. And she's like, I didn't want to bother you. You're so busy. But, you know, giving her that little extra time just has completely turned it around and made her feel so much more confident. I think that's pretty much I had for everything I've been doing and what I want to do moving forward into next year. But I'd love to hear what you guys do and how you feel like your team culture is. Or any questions about anything I've been doing?
I have a question. How do you do the shout outs for the leadership board? Do you do a training on that separately so they kind of know what it is, or?
I try to touch on leadership, like the leadership ladder, a lot in my team calls. So I kind of always talk about like team leader and why that's important. So if somebody goes diamond or if somebody's close, like trying to talk about being a stable diamond. So instead of like always having push to diamonds, like what it means to be a team leader, I'll post pictures about the different levels a lot, or I'll post like training recordings, because like Melanie Mitro's done a lot on team leadership ladder, so I post a lot about that. And then I'll usually like have their pictures, and I'll have like, this rung is team leader, this rung is business starter, this rung is, you know, and underneath that I'll say like, describe it more. So instead of just their name, I'll have their picture, because there's not as many of them. And then for under each category on the big board, I'll put what it actually means. So I think just a lot of repetition with that, because it can be confusing to new coaches.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Laura, I wanted to share with you something that you ended with. The pod, did you call it a pod? Okay. I'm in the middle of a training with, you guys know Bob Lucido? Okay. And he has a lot of us together basically to take, it's called Next Level Mastermind, I guess is the training group he has. He started us off with 2 books, and one of them is this one you guys probably have, the Personality Plus. All right. 2 reasons for this one is a lot of times when we try to mentor and work with our coaches, we're approaching them through our way, our personality, and not necessarily taking time to really reflect on who they are and how they like to and need to receive information from one person to another. So this book we're diving into, how do we learn our coaches' personalities, and then how do we turn around and work with them individually the way they need to receive information and support. This is also, just throwing it out there, not on topic, but it's also great for how you post on social media, because a lot of times you post just your way to attract your market and it's limiting yourself. So if you learn other ways of posting through the personality, you can be able to attract some more different people that would not normally react to your post. The second book that we're doing is this one, Maximum Achievement. You guys know that one, by Brian Tracy. And this is huge. We're just like on chapter 1, and we're just focusing right now on our why. But it really, the book takes you through an assignment like no other on really dissecting your why. And already we've only been through 2 weeks of it. We're still dissecting, creating our why. And already I have a deeper understanding on when I ask my coaches what their why is. A lot of times we ask them what their why is, but we don't really know what to do with that information, like how to take what they say to the next level to convert that to a goal setting for them. And this book really just kind of dives into it a little deeper. So that's what I just offer you, is just maybe look at those 2 books to add into your pod, because I think it just takes our training to a different level.
Yeah, I actually gave Personality Plus as a Success Club incentive a few months ago. Like anybody that hit Success Club, I sent out that book because I totally agree. Like, you assume that people are going to be your personality, and then like I have a bunch of pearls and I don't know how to motivate them, and I attract no emeralds, and I really wish I could have some like super organized coaches on my team. So I don't have any of that either. But no, I agree. I think that's, and like from the pod, I kind of want to create success partners and have them really have somebody that they can lean on. Because I've paired up some people as success partners and it just hasn't worked out. Like one person quit and then they both end up quitting. And like it can totally derail. So that's another reason that I'm doing a pod, is that I'm hoping that they kind of like this, like some weeks people can show up and some don't. If it's always just one other person you're relying on and your gym buddy or your success partner doesn't show up, or if you guys aren't pushing at the same pace, you can both end up derailing. And I know that that's happened with me with some of my success partners, is we kind of go through waves together where we're all super motivated. And then if one person's like, oh, I'm not really feeling it, it kind of ends up being a domino effect in not the best way. But yeah, thanks. I want to check out that other book too.
Okay, guys, let's hear some more. I'm very curious. Even as far, as far as what is working or what has worked as far as team culture, or if you are struggling in an area, let's bring it up. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity to get thoughts and opinions on how to overcome it. So anybody want to go? Yeah, Nicole.
So Laura, I can totally relate when you said, like you kind of lost that not lead by example in terms of the basics. And that's something that I totally lost track of this year. And I've just realized recently in terms of perspective, these coaches, like they look at you and it's so hard to do what you're doing and you forget how basic it has to be. So something that I'm going to start trying, which is like so simple and you might already do it. But in terms of the team calls, like I think about the first couple of weeks I was a coach and I was so scared to hop on a team call because I thought I was going to have to talk or everyone was going to see me. I didn't know what it was. So something I'm encouraging my team to do now is when you introduce a new coach, introduce them in the team page. So I have them obviously put together a little graphic, but then also encourage them to hop on the call because say, I want to introduce you like in person to the team. And then when they get on there, introduce them, give a little bit of their bio, their goals, and kind of help them feel like connected to the community right away and take that pressure off. So I think that's a good way to ease them into it and also right off the bat, help them see like your culture is about connecting with other people. And then something else I've done, which has been really awesome in terms of building their confidence and helping them to talk about their story. So we've done this. It's called like a lot of people on my team are mostly women. So I did like the spin-off on a Woman Crush Wednesday. And so I love this activity. I did it at a retreat last year where sometimes we can kind of be hard on ourselves and we don't see like our true value and see what our strengths are. So it's so impactful when you can see yourself through the eyes of someone else. So what we started doing is every Wednesday I give people the chance to kind of nominate someone that we're going to crush on for the week. And then choose one winner and I kind of put together a little picture for them. And I start and I share everything I admire about that person, all of their strengths, what they contribute to the team, and then everyone chimes in. And what this has done for them, like them seeing all these comments, like most of them have printed them out and have them like pinned on their vision board. It's just been a really awesome way to build them up and help them kind of have that confidence. But then to take it one step further, they have a call to action. So they have until the following Wednesday to go live in my team page and share their story, what brought them to coaching and where they're headed. And it's been really cool because it helps them see like different perspectives from everyone on the team. It helps them get comfortable going live as a new coach, and it helps them get comfortable like realizing they do have a story. So it's been, it's a great way. It can be a little nerve-wracking and maybe start by nominating the people that have been around for a while to ease into it. But I can say like this has been what they say they love the most now about our team. And it does make it more well-rounded. It's not just coaching, it's about like empowering each other, which is really cool. So that's something that's worked really well for me recently.
I love that. I think that's awesome. Like making sure that everybody's feeling like people notice them. Like my friend Katie, she comes so close to quitting and she's the most loved coach on my team. And like when she posts a vulnerable post, like everybody just piles on because she's hilarious and awesome. And that's what keeps her there. Like knowing that other people are following your journey and, see your strengths when you don't see them at all.
Yeah. I think I always tell them the biggest thing about this business is that like everyone's basically a volunteer, but it's the only thing you can ever dedicate your time to where you truly feel appreciated. So as soon as people stop feeling appreciated, they kind of tap out. They don't get a tap on the back for showing up at work. They have to do it. But we kind of can make them feel appreciated for showing up. So it does wonders in terms of, building that, even if the compensation part was gone, like you strengthen it through an emotional standpoint as well.
Yeah, when I actually quit my first job, that's exactly what I said to my boss. I was like, nothing makes a good employee leave faster than feeling unappreciated. Because I know that I'm working harder than the person right next to me. We're making the same amount. All you need to do is tell me, like, atta girl, I noticed what you're doing. And like, that is what we do in this business. And we give each other shout outs. And like, I shared a video this morning that was like, these are 3 of the friends that I've made in this that were total strangers. If I didn't make any money, like taking away what I've made in this business is so valuable. So I love that. I totally agree. And I think it's great to not just do good posts or good transformations, because those are things that people might not have, but loving them for their personality and having it kind of be more of an array of things that you love them for, I think is awesome.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
What did you call that?
Sorry.
Crush on them or something?
Well, she said she did like Woman Crush Wednesday.
Woman Crush Wednesday? Okay.
So that's what I call it. But you could do like a coach of the week if you have a lot of guys on your team as well. You can do like any spin. That was just, we do it every Wednesday to kind of, just because literally it's all women on my team. We don't have any guys. And then something else to kind of build off of, celebrating other things. Every Thursday, obviously we want to celebrate range advancements and everything, but we just do, what are we celebrating today? And it kind of helps you see where people are at. So it gives them the chance to say, I did 10 push-ups today, or I shared my first post today, or if they're kind of quiet, your other coaches can shut them up for those things. So it's a good way to kind of have that check and balance where people can just celebrate whatever has them feeling good for the day. It doesn't just have to be those rank things too.
Yes, we do like Thankful Thursday too. Like, what you're thankful for. So it's either like something you appreciate the business for, like I'm thankful today that I can snuggle with my kids this morning instead of having to leave for work, or I'm thankful that, I can actually button these pants because I've been sticking to a meal plan. So like same thing, like celebrating your wins on Thursdays and showing that, like, I think sometimes people lose focus of the things that they're thankful for when they get into the humdrum, like every single day, and just reminding people to be thankful of the little things, I think like sets you apart from being a positive force in Facebook compared to like all the negative things out there. Another thing that I've been seeing, like some coaches lead their team calls with shout outs. So they'll put like their leadership board for the week that has all the Success Club points, and they'll have all the new coaches that signed up on the team, or they'll ask their leaders, hey, is there somebody that you want to shout out for the week that's been doing a great job? So kind of leading their team call every single week that way is nice, and it gives them incentives to be on the call too, hoping that their name will be like recognized on the team.
I love that. I'll just add to it today, because I spoke with Kevin after Summit, where my team culture went like down the drains this year, and actually it was right after Summit. And so I learned moving forward, Summit actually like segregated my coaches into like cliques, and they were feeling like they weren't a certain rank and they weren't included in things, and it got really ugly when we got back, and it was awful. So we were rebuilding since then. But on that note, I love the in my team page, I'm always the one doing recognition. I'm always the one shouting people out. So I love having that system of like nominating or having people encourage other teammates. And I know Nicole Meredith does like a nomination form where they just have like a voting form during the week of like, who do you see really stepping up and like going outside their comfort zone, and just kind of this anonymous recognition thing where they just send in a name of someone on the team, and then that one time a week or whatever, you have like a coach of the week or whatever it is. So it's nominated through other people, which is nice, because she had just said like people are like, what, who nominated me? Like someone's watching them, which is kind of nice.
That's kind of like what I started with it. I just use a Woohoo form.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
She like did the spin off to like coach of the week. So you can like totally customize it to what works for your team, which is nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like that idea. So definitely having nominations and getting more team engagement in there, because I do have coaches posting in the team page, but it's still heavily like me kind of driving this bus of recognition and shouting people out and encouraging people all the time. And then just from that, we have our team retreat next weekend. So I'm hopeful that this is kind of where we can do a lot of team building and connecting and kind of bridge those gaps that happened from Summit, because it got ugly.
Well, And Annalise is doing a phenomenal job. She's a wonderful leader. So thank you for sharing that. Kelly, we haven't heard from you. What has worked well in your team, or what questions do you have, or anything like that?
What has worked well in my team is, to be very honest, not a whole lot this year because I fell into I had a really difficult pregnancy, and I kind of backed away from a lot of things that I was doing, and I'm now getting back into everything. And what I have noticed, and I've gotten a lot of notes from my coaches saying, just seeing you fall in love with everything all over again has made me fall in love with everything all over again. Seeing you posting pictures saying, hey, my little jerk 11-week-old didn't let me get my workout in, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to, I have a picture of me doing video of me doing the 21-day fix with him in his carrier. Because I made the choice to get it done, and my team is really responding to that. I'm finding that the more I do the things that I need to do just for me and my business, they're following me on that lead. And trying to post my basic stuff in my team page. In my team, I have a couple really strong leaders that kind of branched out, and they do their own thing now, which is great. But I have that mama bear, my baby's left. The people that used to, be so strong with me and used to do everything with me, they're gone. And now I really have to foster everybody else in the team page. And since I've started doing that, new people have stepped up, which is really cool. So I actually, I'm a full-time music teacher on maternity leave, hoping to never go back. And I had an assistant last year because I literally didn't have time to do the recognition stuff. So she would make the pictures for me and whatnot. And I just fired her. Not because I don't love her, not because she was doing bad things, but I want to do my own recognition again now because I feel more connected with my team when I do it. So that's...
I love that. Thank you. Hey guys, we are short on time. I just want to mention one thing, and Laura, way to go. Great job in leading this call. Guys, with team culture, it is incredibly important that you guys build this team culture, but equally as important, good vibes don't produce results. Make sure there's always a call to action associated with whatever we're doing. If we need to be, if we're in the building stage, then build that team culture, build that love, build that, objective that's way bigger than us. Let us be part of something that's bigger than us, but also make sure that there's a call to action. Call to actions produce results. So it's always good to have those moments of inspiration, moments of inspiration, motivation, and then make sure that they know what to do next. We can't just assume that they're going to do what they need to do. We have to make sure we do it, and then we follow up with them. That's also what a good leader does. So anyways, great job today, Laura, and everybody for chiming in. I really appreciate it. I love masterminds where everybody participates because we all leave better than we came. So I hope you took great notes. Do some of those things, and let's report back and see how it went. Anyways, great job. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Thanks, Laura. See you guys.